Greetings, housemates, and welcome back to Learn to Play Endless Legend. I'm Phwop, and this is the Necrophage basic combat introduction. So, we have, through a little bit of luck and a little bit of guile, managed to set up a combat against a haunt village, but we will be including in our fight our starting city's militia and both of our initial units, even though they are currently in different armies. A couple of things to note before it all begins. One, haunts are some of the more brutal enemies in the early game. There are some starting minor factions that are very easy to kill, and there are some that are pretty hard to kill. Haunts, especially while their disease immunity makes them desirable allies for us, unfortunately, disease is one of our better tools for killing stuff, and one of the advantages of our foragers that we won't be able to use at all. Note also that our foragers are naturally ranged slayers, which means that they're better against ranged enemies, and the haunts are flying class enemies. Our militia are disease immune. That's great. They don't cause disease, so we're not missing out there. They're fast, so they actually have, unlike most infantry who has a base movement of 2, they have a base movement of 3, and they are cavalry slayers too, which means they're using spears of some sort. Unfortunately, these guys aren't cavalry either. The only other unit type we have is our hero. Our hero is also fast, which means he'll have a combat speed of 3 instead of 2, like his normal infantry would have. He's immune to disease, but doesn't cause it. Note the forager has disease 1. So they cause disease to things they hit. However, that won't matter. You'll note he has last stand. Here, let's actually go into it. If you want to see what each of these do, then you want to inspect your hero and tooltip over them. That's the only way you're going to figure out what all these bonuses mean. And the capacities mixes combat bonuses with non-combat bonuses, so it can be hard. Like, slavery has nothing to do with combat. Neither does spying, but army attack boost definitely does. So we're going to take a look at what all these units do, and then we'll go over how we can win. For one, +1 battle movement. Note that generally infantry, support, and ranged units have a base combat speed of 2, which is half of their non-combat speed. Half of your non-combat speed is kind of what you can expect your combat speed to be, but it's actually a separate amount. So, 3 combat speed, immune to disease, that's nice. Last stand, comes back to life if any unit of its army is alive at the end of a battle. So we can kind of sacrifice him in combat if we need to win. He can tank for us, but of course he won't come back at full health, and then he'll have to regenerate all the way back up, which will take quite a while. Fortunately, the necrophage regenerate at double the normal rate. The normal rate is 5% of your health, and the necrophage get plus 5% as a racial bonus. So we actually regenerate 10% of our health every turn, so it wouldn't take too long for us to get back up to fighting. We're infantry slayer. That actually comes from our equipment. You can see the sword here gives us infantry slayer as well as 9 attack and 2 defense. Swords are the more defensive option and anti-infantry. So remember that attack and damage are not the same thing. High attack can prevent you from missing or doing less damage and increase your chances of getting critical hits. Damage, of course, is modified by how well you hit. And defense basically makes it harder for other people's attack to work on you, increasing their chance to miss, deal reduced damage, or avoid critical hits. Initiative determines how soon you act. This speed is how many tiles you can move on the strategic map, and it doesn't list your combat speed anywhere, which is kind of annoying. And of course, life. If this reaches 0, your unit dies. Fortunately, this unit will come back. None of our other units have that benefit. All right, so note that all of these statistics already include tier 1 iron equipment. We've got an iron helmet, which gives us 6 extra health. We've got an iron cuirass, which gives us 6 defense and 12 health. We've got an iron shield, which gives us 4 defense, but it also gives us 2 capacities, block 1 and sharp sense 1. So what do those do for us? Block 1, plus 10% defense when we're attacked. Nice. Sharp sense 1, plus 20% defense against ranged attacks. I don't think these overlap. You'll note that the wording is pretty vague sometimes. So the shield, in addition to the flat 4 extra defense, also gives us 10% more defense against melee and 20% against range, which is pretty good. Army attack boost. So this is specific to the hero and will never change or be upgraded unless we find an item that gives army attack boost. This is kind of like our hero's unique boost, are these last 3 things. Army attack boost. 5 extra attack to the whole army. I think that includes himself. And 15% bonus attack to the whole army on top of that. So that's pretty good. Every level of boost is going to be better. There are heroes that have up to army attack 3. Which would be probably 15% attack and like 40%, or 15 extra attack and 40% increase. These are pretty important. We have slavery. That's a necrophage specific one. That means that for every pacified village, our population assigned to food and industry produces 1 more food and industry. And then spying. Every hero has a spying level. Necrophages suck at spying. We can't improve this, so it's best to hire a hero with a high spying skill. Spying 4 is so much better than spying 1. And lastly, we have 2 accessory slots. Now, you can upgrade your hero right now. What it's going to cost you is dust. We've got 70 dust and we're making 5 dust a turn. That's not a lot. If you want to see what your units do, then you're going to want to go to the military screen. Note that this is F1, F2, F3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I guess 9. Boom, tested, definitely 9. So what was this? F6. All right, so here are our armies that are active. Here are the units we can build. All right, settlers, you can give them a movement speed increasing item, which is great. So let's go ahead and take care of this. So there are 3 types of equipment. There's weapons, armor, and accessories. The types of these things you can actually assign to units differs per unit and per class of unit. Like flying units get different ones as compared to infantry, as compared to ranged. So there's a lot of equipment to be familiar with. The basics are, the accessories are usually fairly similar. In this case, we can get a warning bell, which gives them extra vision and sharp sense, which if you recall is defense against ranged, or improved movement 1, which is really important to keeping these guys from getting intercepted and other stuff, since they're not really fighters. These are just our settlers. So I wouldn't suggest ever improving them beyond giving them better movement range. And as you go up in eras, your improved movement, like this accessory type, will get better and better, and you'll want to put a new one on them. So we're just going to do that. So what did we just do? We just made a better settler design. Note that it kicked it up to 2 because we edited the original settler. This hasn't built anything yet, but next time we go to build one, it's going to have that faster movement. Note also, it lets you look at the capacities that this thing has, like colonization, can colonize a neutral region. Blocked growth, stops food production when being trained. Important to know. Unsellable, can't be sold in the marketplace. Disease immune, that's good. It has Cavalry Slayer thanks to this long spear, same thing that our militia use. And now it has improved movement. You'll also note down here at the bottom, the cost to produce includes 1 population from the city, not mentioned anywhere else. All right, let's look at the forager. Since we don't have any necrodrones, we're gonna keep this short by looking just at the forager. Here are the foragers we have. If we change this design, it doesn't automatically upgrade them. It just means new ones we produce will have other stuff. And it means that we can then retrofit them at the cost of gold to have this sweet, sweet equipment. So let's just take a look at this to figure out how our guys work. Disease allows the unit to transfer disease to its target when attacking. This includes counterattacks. And the disease damage happens immediately. That is, if someone comes up and attacks our forager, they will instantly take disease damage before they even attack. And if we attack them, we will also cause them to be diseased. Unfortunately, this doesn't work on haunts, but it's a very important mechanic to know for the necrophage. Units with disease lose 10% of its life every round. I think disease lasts like 4 or 5 turns, but generally it will never wear off because combat only lasts 6 rounds max. And when dying, the disease is spread to adjacent units. This is how your own units will get diseased, is they will attack some unit and kill it, and they will catch the disease that it had. So your minor factions, this is the reason haunts being immune to disease is nice for us, because if we use haunts, they won't accidentally get diseased and start losing 10% of their health around. They are immune to disease like all necrophage units and heroes. They have ranged slayer. Ranged slayer comes from this axe, which increases their attack and their initiative by a tiny bit. That's the lightning bolt. Remember, you can always match it up here. They have block and sharp sense, just like our hero, because they're using a shield. So they take less damage from all attacks. And that's all they got. Good to know. And then the militia, there's actually no way to look at the militia stats that I'm aware of. This is as good as it gets. You just have to know what these capacities do from your other units. And fortunately, they're nice and simple. You'll note that their attack and defense, it looks like it's actually better. Their attack is a little bit better than our own units. Okay, and lastly, we kind of want to know something about our enemies, but we're going to have to find that out right now. All right, so you'll note you have 1 action point down here. Whenever one of your armies fights in combat, it loses its action point. Action points are only used to attack, as far as I know, and nothing else uses an action point but attacking. But it means that if we fight here, I cannot attack with these guys even if I moved up to another village and attacked. All right, so when you say you're going to attack, if it doesn't automatically take you into the attack phase, it'll load it over here. Note that we have a timer on all of this because I like to practice under pressure. And these guys will be joining us as reinforcements, which means they won't start off on the map, but we'll get a couple of them trickling in every turn randomly. And we're fighting 2 ended. So they're immune to disease. They have chain lightning, slow, fly, and infantry slayer. The only one we might not know what it is chain lightning. And that means they deal 20% damage, just like the demons do. All right, but this is no time to waste. We're going to deploy back away from them. Since they're slow, they only have a combat speed of 2, despite being flyers. And we want to stay away from that. Now, any of these red tiles we can start off in. We don't want to start off in these reinforcement zones because that's where our other units are going to be coming from, right? Excellent. And if anyone's going to take a hit, we want it to be our militia. So I'm going to tell the militia to move up there. These guys are set to aggressive. We're just going to tell them where to move right now. And that should keep them nice and safe, and they will be going aggressive. Now, I've set it up so I only control every other turn, which means that I had to learn much more quickly how to fight. Now, I don't believe chain lightning, you can actually look at it while you're in combat. I don't believe chain lightning works on counterattacks, but we're about to see. Yeah, it does not. Now, note they did a lot of damage. Haunts are brutal. Now, every unit gets... do they get multiple counterattacks? Or was that their turn? Alright, so we're going to get chain lightning pretty bad because... Ow, this is going to suck. Okay, note that the chain lightning went down this way. Okay, so the militia are pouring in. And these guys are all out of attacks. Because the militia are fast, they can move 3 spaces, which is great for us. If we're really lucky, that one's going to go down. Okay, so now it's our turn, and what we really want to do is have our poor... no, the militia can go. We want to save all of our foragers, of which we only have 2. And our hero is the toughest of the bunch. Note that if you are at a higher elevation than your enemy, like these militia are, you get 30% attack, and if you're in forest, you get 30% defense. Okay, so we killed that one, right? Now what we really want is for no one else to die. We just want the militia to swarm over these guys. If militia die, I don't care. I don't have to pay to replace militia. But I'm really afraid chain lightning is going to wipe out some of these dudes. I don't like how they're chained together at all. I don't think attacking uphill... Yeah, it does not penalize you. Okay, good. Good. They couldn't engage because there was no room. These guys I told to stay away. Oh, God. Did they die? They didn't quite die. But that chain lightning counterattack almost killed them. Okay, like I said, haunts are beasts. Beasts. With 118 health, solid attack and defense, that chain, and their immunity disease, they are pretty tough. So you'll note that these guys got reduced to 10 health. These guys got reduced to 36. This militia also got hurt. All these guys are going to regenerate at about 10% of their health per level, 10% of their health per turn, which is pretty good. And of course, we did come out victorious. Now, we get 11.7 XP per unit. The fewer units you use, the more XP each of them get. The amount of XP you get is based on the production cost of what you killed, which includes the equipment that things are produced with. So fighting other empires is going to get you a lot more XP per unit killed. Now, note that the militia will continuously gain 1 XP per turn or more, depending on if your governor is good at granting XP and what buildings you have built. And will level up. And every time a unit levels up, it gets 20% increased stats. Boom. The higher their base stats, the more that 20% is worth. Your hero gets 10% increased base stats per level and increased upkeep. And note that the upkeep for other units is equivalent to their level +1. So these guys are level 1, they have 2-point upkeep. Militia are free. And if a militia dies, it'll be reborn next turn as long as you're not under siege and at 1 health. And then it'll just regenerate at the speed that your units normally do. The necrophage also collect cadavers. You can collect cadavers from your own dead units as well as dead enemy units as long as you win. We got 2 cadavers, and if you happen to hit 8 cadavers, the counter will reset to 0 and you'll receive a stockpile. And if you have more than 8, then the counter will tick up. So we have 2 cadavers total since this was our first fight, which means no recycled stockpile. If you want to check, oh, also we completed our quest. That must have been the only haunt village here, and we get 80 dust for it. Now, we have a new objective. Seeking revenge, a haunt's army comes to attack your city in Entai. They must be destroyed. Well, that's no good. And you'll note by the quest thing above it that these guys are coming. Now, we are suspiciously underpowered to deal with this. And I'm going to have to run away. They're also, I will note, really fast on the strategic map. So this could be bad. But we did complete our quest. Can I build another unit quickly? 169. That's just not going to be possible. Yeah. So that thing may really rock us. Let's do an emergency search here. Titanium. If it'd been 30 dust, we could have bought a unit. So it'd be available next turn. All right, guys. So that was a basic combat against a foe that is pretty powerful and probably wouldn't have been able to beat with just our 2 foragers alone. Unfortunately, more of them are coming after us, and we look like we'll probably lose a unit unless we can tank with our hero and our militia, since they can come back for free. So I hope you appreciate that. If you have disease, then it's better to disease your opponents, and then you can like run away or draw out the combat by playing defensively and let that disease eat away at them. But I think that's enough for one video. Thanks for watching, and I'll have another video about more of the early game of the necrophages. I just wanted to really zoom in on this one battle. So thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and remember, it's all downhill from here.